While oats can be a nutritious addition to your breakfast, they aren't suitable for everyone. Some even argue that they are unhealthy for you and that they should be avoided. In this video, I want to go over why some doctors claim oatmeal is no longer considered a superfood. We can investigate those claims, the cons of eating oatmeal every day, and my thoughts on the 3 groups of people who may want to avoid eating oatmeal. So stay tuned till the end. Also, real quick guys, before we get started, it would mean the world to me if you hit the like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and turn the bell on next to it to stay up to date with new weekly videos. So oats are going to be your cereal commonly eaten in the form of oatmeal or rolled oats, or used as a milk alternative known as oat milk. And before I get into why they've been scrutinized and questioned, it's important to address why they got their superfood title in the first place. The first being is that they contain antioxidants called aminanthramides, which are essentially fancy polyphenols. And aminanthramides play a role in keeping blood pressure low by increasing nitric oxide production. That's great, but what else makes oatmeal a superfood, right? The second is because of their beta-glucan profile. Not only are beta-glucans thought to lower blood cholesterol levels, but they're thought to have immune system stimulating effects too. But what else makes them a superfood? Well, probably the biggest one is that it can keep your bowels moving regularly, with both insoluble and soluble fiber to help move things along your digestive tract, since 1 cup of oats contains a little over 8 grams of fiber. So then why all this scrutiny then? If they contain aminanthramides, beta-glucans, and have fiber, what's wrong with them? Well, the first is because in America, food manufacturers will add sugar, a lot of sugar, to make them taste better. Flavored oatmeal packets like your pre-packaged or sweetened instant oatmeal, classic examples. These oatmeal sold as maple syrup and brown sugar oatmeal or strawberries and cream oatmeal typically have a lot of added ingredients and sugar that make oatmeal bad for us. That's the first reason. The second reason why some doctors are skeptical of oatmeal is because of its phytic acids. And remember, we mentioned that phytic acid is an anti-nutrient. Let's play a clip.
Fake health foods, oatmeal. You think this is the best breakfast ever. This is not the breakfast of champions. Oats are full of phytic acid, a compound that chelates, that bites onto minerals like magnesium, zinc, calcium, iron, and many others in your body and prevents you from absorbing them. Basically, your morning oatmeal is robbing you of nutrients, not a health food, horrible breakfast.
Raw oats contain the anti-nutrient phytic acid, which binds to minerals like iron, zinc, making it difficult for your body to absorb them. This could lead to mineral deficiencies over time, especially if you don't eat a well-balanced diet overall, which is why a good way to get around this issue is by opting for overnight oats or soaking the oats with a dash of apple cider vinegar or lemon juice and then discarding the water before eating it. Soaking the oats in any milk as overnight oats is thought to activate phytase, which is an enzyme that is present in oat that breaks down phytic acid. So yes, while there's phytic acid, there are ways to get around it. So that's the second reason. The third reason is because it's not as complete as other breakfast foods. Let's play another clip.
As a cardiologist, I never recommend eating oatmeal. Certainly not every day as so many people do. Our ancestors did not eat oatmeal, neither should you. There's been a lot of propaganda over the years about the benefits of oatmeal, and I think all of that really is just from the supportive industry, Nabisco, Quaker Oats, Kellogg's, about promoting us to eat oatmeal and oatmeal over eggs. On what planet would people be living on where they think that oatmeal, which has just about no nutritional value and actually contains a lot of anti-nutrients, would be better than eating a pasture-raised egg?
Not too sure about the ancestors not eating them because there's data that showed oats being consumed at the time of the Stone Age. But eggs may be better, yes, because you don't get blood sugar spikes with them, but you can say that with a lot of things, right? Unless, of course, you're diabetic. Some will argue it's really not that big of a deal since blood glucose levels are transient for your average person. Ultimately, it's about what you're putting in your oatmeal that can lead to the biggest problems, right? Some people will add a ton of brown sugar, honey, and maple syrup, increasing the amount of total calories and bumping up the total carbohydrate amount as well, which is what pre-diabetics and diabetics need to be cautious of. So now that we got through both the pros of oatmeal and what doctors claim is bad about oatmeal, I actually want to turn our attention to 3 groups of people in which oatmeal may not even be best suited for. The first is if you don't thrive on a high carb or grain-based breakfast like oatmeal. It's important to verify if you do or don't. There's nothing wrong with you If you don't, your body just has different requirements than the food pyramid recommendation you were told you had to follow. I'll give you an example. When I was in high school, I would fall asleep in class after lunch or mid-morning, even with 8 hours of sleep. It's because my breakfasts and lunches were carb-based. I didn't know back then, but carb-rich meals knock me out and make me feel bloated. And since we all grew up with the USDA food pyramid telling us oatmeal and cereals were a healthy, fiber-rich breakfast that's fortified with your synthetic vitamins and minerals, grains, bread, rice, pasta, and cereals were all at the base of the pyramid. And guess what? We were told to eat more of those than any other food group, even our vegetables. The problem with that is grain-based diets cause fatigue and increased pounds for some folks, depending on your physiology. It doesn't help either, since growing up, we were constantly bombarded with imagery of happy tigers and cartooned animals dancing happily and eating breakfast in colors that don't exist in nature. This is our food industry. Unfortunately, genetically modified corn flour, refined grains, dyes in every number you can think of, and hydrogenated vegetable oil. So that's the first group who may not even benefit from oatmeal. The second group is if you struggle with GI issues like bloating, reflux, IBS, Crohn's, or any other inflammatory conditions. Then oatmeal and grain-based breakfasts are not for you. Grains can actually be very irritating to your GI tract because of the lectins and phytic acids which contribute to inflammation. The third group is not just if you aren't thriving off oatmeal, but if you're actually more prone to fatigue from a sugar sensitivity, then you may want to avoid oats. Carb-heavy meals can cause fatigue for some folks. The fatigue comes on after your blood sugar levels rise and then drop again rapidly. Grains are high carb, low protein, and can potentially cause an energy crash a few hours after eating. Your body may have a greater need for protein and fat to keep the blood sugar levels stable instead, since 1 cup of cooked oatmeal has 32 grams of carbs, 6 grams of protein, and 4 grams of fiber. And you're probably not eating it plain. So let's say you're adding on a banana and maybe some honey to it. That is an additional 44 grams of carbs for that banana, and a tablespoon of honey that puts your breakfast at 76 grams of carbs and about 32 grams of sugars, which is about 8 teaspoons of sugar, and you're only at breakfast. Your body is going to break down all those carbs into sugars, use what it needs for energy, and the rest is converted to and stored as fat. But what if you don't add any additional sugar to it? The oatmeal still clocks in as a high carb, low protein breakfast, so if you actually have a sugar sensitivity, meaning you tend to crave sugar and carbs, have energy fluctuations like the 3 p.m. crash, a grain-based breakfast is not for you. Then there are other reasons to avoid them too, like gluten sensitivities, pesticide residues for some oat brands. It can be an allergen for some and may have too much phosphorus, especially for those who have impaired kidney function, as excess phosphorus can contribute to mineral imbalances and worsen kidney health. I'm curious to read what you think though. Will you still be eating oatmeal? If so, what is your favorite type of oatmeal? Leave me them in the comments below, and until then guys, I'll see you on the next one.